Hi everyone. I wanted to get on here to speak my truth, and this does not have to be your truth. There are an infinite number of truths, and every truth is true for the person who believes it. So, take what resonates and leave the rest. My whole truth revolves around this single truth, that everything is energy, everything is light, and everything is consciousness. And those three words are interchangeable. So, our bodies are energy, the physical reality we see is energy, the thoughts we think are energy, the emotions we feel are energy. Everything is energy, okay? Secondly, we are not our bodies, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, behaviors, programs, or paradigms. I'm going to say that again. We are not our thoughts, bodies, emotions, beliefs, behaviors, programs, or paradigms. Okay? Those are consciousness. We are light, okay? We are light beings in a human form. And all of those things that we experience are frequencies in our bodies. So, I wrote a list of my truths so that I don't get sidetracked. We all come from the same unified source. Some call it God, some call it spirit, some call it the all. But we all came from this one source of infinite everything that ever is, was, and will be. We, as individual light beings, split from source. Not in the sense that we are separate, but we moved our light out of the source consciousness, and we became an individual light being. We were able to move throughout any dimension, any time, any space. We could create any life for ourselves, any experience. And as a higher consciousness, we all chose to incarnate in this time to experience this massive shift in consciousness. So we chose our parents, we chose where we live, we chose the physical DNA we express, meaning how we look, and we created an Akashic records and blueprint for how we would ascend. And what I mean by that, an Akashic records is basically time doesn't exist. So as a higher consciousness, imagine you're looking down at this time-space continuum, and you can create timelines. You can create specific events that would happen in your life to shape who you are, because once you come into human form, everyone has free will, and the timelines shift all the time based on our actions. So when you come into a human form, you forget who you are and why you're here. So if you didn't create the Akashic records, your life would just be random. So you created these experiences to keep you on a specific trajectory in your experience. These could be traumas, these could be good experiences, they could be anything. And we created a team of higher dimensional consciousnesses to guide us, heal us, activate us, and remind us of who we are and what we're doing here. These could be from any dimension. These could be galactic beings, they could be angels, they could be elementals, they could be ancestors, any consciousness, because we are in a quantum space, meaning we can tap into any dimensional field. It's just that our bodies are vibrating in the third dimension. So we're going to experience the third dimension first and foremost. Okay, I'm kind of going off on different tangents, but I have bullets to get through. The human collective and the earth are in a third dimensional field. Okay? So what I mean by that is, if you could see the earth, the whole earth, right? And all the humans standing on it, all of our physical bodies are vibrating in the third dimension. And a dimension is a spectrum of consciousness, okay? It's not a time, it's not like a place. It's a spectrum of consciousness. A spectrum of experiences to have had. Okay? So in this spectrum of consciousness, we have duality, time, matter, and a time-space continuum, which is, I already said that, but that's how we experience our reality. And when we drop into a human form, we forget who we are and why we're here, right? That's because the energy here, the light, is spinning so slow, and it's really dense, okay? That's why everything is so physical, because it's really slow, really dense. But in the higher dimensions, everything is different. And we are currently shifting the consciousness in our bodies and in the earth plane to raise the frequency, speed up that spin of that light into the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension holds a different spectrum of consciousness, holds different frequencies, okay? And many of us are already holding these frequencies in our bodies. That doesn't mean that we are only fifth dimensional beings. There is a dimensional split, okay? Because what's happening is there are thousands of humans right now, millions of humans actually, that are starting to hold higher frequencies, which is just light spinning faster, and it's in our bodies. But what that does is it makes the third dimensional consciousnesses that are spinning slower come up to be experienced. And when they come up to be experienced, we have to see them, feel them, and love them in order for it to shift into a higher frequency. And that's how we're clearing the density in our bodies, so that eventually we can be these higher frequencies every now. And these higher frequencies include unity, the quantum space, and crystalline light consciousness. And what I mean by this is, instead of a time-space continuum, we are more tapped into the quantum space, meaning we are able to tap into any time and space and dimension that we want. We're less restricted by this illusion of time. And the crystalline light consciousness is just physical reality in a higher frequency. Everything will literally be crystalline, and it's hard to explain. It's literally going to look like crystals. Like how matter is in a carbon-based structure, right? A crystalline structure means that it's all stacked onto each other in a specific pattern and all matches. It's just a higher frequency formation of particles. And that's what we're turning into. We are shifting the frequency, and our particles, our DNA, is rearranging in a higher frequency structure. And so the reality is going to look different. So when we drop into the human form, we start to experience reality through three different lenses: the ego, the higher self, and the body, okay? The ego is the aspect of your consciousness that we've been operating from our whole lives. It's third dimensional. It holds duality and judgment and attachment and your identity, your personality, okay? It's who you think you are. All those things I said you're not in the beginning, your body, your beliefs, your thoughts, your paradigms, your emotions, that's your ego. It's what you attach to. Your higher self is a fifth dimensional aspect of your consciousness that is also in your body at the same time, occupying the same space and time, just in a higher frequency, a higher density. And this aspect is it's a lot quieter, because it doesn't hold judgment, it doesn't hold duality, and it doesn't hold attachment. It's not controlling your experience. It gives you loving suggestions, blanket statements. And as we ascend, we will start to hear this aspect more. And the body is currently vibrating in third dimension, and it is designed to shift into the fifth dimension. So that's how the body is an electrical device that holds consciousness. It holds your consciousness and all the other consciousnesses we've digested and pulled in through our channel. So that's how we experience all the thoughts, emotions, beliefs, paradigms, programs, behaviors, and the other thing that I forgot. It's all frequencies in our bodies, and without the body we wouldn't be able to experience them. But the body is shifting, and the body is what is taking us into these higher frequencies. The body knows what it's doing. The body is designed to do this. It pulls up these lower frequencies. When we pull in the higher frequencies shine light on the lower frequencies. And those lower frequencies move into the outside of our energetic field where we experience them. It comes into our awareness, and then we notice them. And in that now, when we notice them, we are given the option to either deny them and bury them again, and it just goes back in until the light pushes it back up. But we also have the choice to feel it, love it, and not attach to it. See it as energy that we are not. And that allows it to move through and alchemize into a higher frequency. And literally, we are getting lighter. Our bodies are holding density, energy that is spinning so slow that it holds a literal weight to it. Okay? And when we shift density, we are literally getting lighter. Also, we are not the ego or the higher self. We are the higher consciousness, the light being that is in our bodies, okay? And I just want to say that this is nothing new. You knew all of this prior to dropping down into human form. I'm just reminding you of what you forgot, because the density is so slow, and the energy is moving so slow, and we're not ever disconnected from that light being or the higher self, but it's the dimensional fields are so far apart. Like, this is where our bodies are, and this is where the higher self is. It's hard for us to tap into this until we start tapping into it when we start to ascend. And we've been ascending our whole lives, okay? But usually what happens is, when we create the Akashic Records, we come in, and throughout the childhood we have traumas, and we get programmed. And then eventually we wake up, and it's like an excavation process. We have to unlearn and alchemize and clear and purge all of these lower frequencies that we've experienced by its energy that moved into our body through our channel. And that's why a lot of people's traumas are coming up right now, because the energy is speeding up on the planet, and it's causing us to have no choice but to deal with all of the traumas that we've been storing in our bodies. And what a trauma is just a consciousness that moved into our body that was too intense for us to feel and experience fully. So it got stuck in the body. And now that the light is speeding up, it's coming up into the external of our energetic field for us to see, feel, love, and shift. That is how we shift consciousness, okay? So, I've talked about third dimension and fifth dimension, and I wrote a diagram here, okay? They are spectrums of consciousness, okay? So, these are consciousnesses that these different spectrums of consciousness hold. So, they're not really like this in a box or whatever. It's just like, it's like a spectrum that never ends. It goes on forever and gets denser forever. But these are two different areas. And the reason why there's no fourth dimension is because the fourth dimension doesn't really exist. It's just a bridge between these two spectrums of consciousness. When you move between them, you're in a fourth dimensional frequency. So let's start with the third dimension. The third dimension holds duality, time, matter, fear, greed, lack, control, what does that say? Manipulation, mind control, labels, judgment, and attachment. Okay? And these are all starting to get so obvious to us right now because the light is speeding up and it's like digging it up. It's like coming to the surface of our consciousness so that we can shift it into these by choosing to be in these, which are unity, quantum, crystalline, love, gratitude, abundance, freedom, non-judgment, and non-attachment. We are meant to be in a more expanded state. And guess what? This isn't new. We've been in this frequency before. Millions of years ago, in the time of Atlantis and Lemuria, in ancient Egypt, in Machu Picchu and Stonehenge, the consciousness used to be in a fifth dimensional frequency. But over millions of years, human beings started to tap into lower frequencies, the fourth dimensional frequencies, and then the third dimensional frequencies. And they started to pull the collective down. And this has never been done before. The whole goal of this was to shift the planetary Earth body from a fifth dimensional frequency to a seventh dimensional frequency. And so she asked light beings to come down, living on her, to help shift, to help anchor more light. But there's a lot of stuff that happened, and I'll probably make more videos about this, but over millions of years we started to be controlled, and we started to tap into lower frequencies, and it pulled the Earth into a lower frequency. Our bodies and the planet got dense, physical, and the planet almost got destroyed. So it had to be started over. That's the time of the Great Flood, or the 3 days of darkness, that so many ancient texts and religions and societies wrote about. This was when the whole planetary Earth plane was cleared, and the human body was recreated in the third dimension and designed to shift back into the fifth dimension. So since that point, millions of years have gone by, and this is the lifetime that we are going to shift. This is the lifetime where it all accelerates, where we actually make it to the fifth dimensional frequency, and we anchor that in. And we are never going to be pulled back down again. There is so much light. See this? There is so much light being poured down onto the earth plane and poured into our bodies right now. That's why everything is so chaotic. Chaos is just another word for consciousness shifting. Everything is coming to the light so that we can see it, feel it, love it, and shift it. It's that simple. And you don't have to believe me, but this is my truth. And I wanted to share this with you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being in a human form right now. Thank you for experiencing this. It's not easy. It's not easy. So I appreciate you, and I love you.